Welcome to The Advocate with your host, Nick Phillips. And now, here's your host, Nick Phillips.
Good evening, Cleveland. Nick Phillips with you with another episode. I guess we can call it episode of The Advocate. And tonight we're going to have some interesting things on. After the half hour, we're going to have Dr. David Perlmutter on. He's the author of a book called The Neuroscience of Enlightenment. It's a very interesting thing. Dr. Perlmutter is actually a medical doctor who's also a neurologist, and he has teamed up with a medical anthropologist to sort of put together Western medicine and also some of the histories of anthropology and homeopathic medicine to talk about maybe we can get the best out of both. And then we're going to have another doctor, Dr. Srini Pillai, who's going to be on talking about the science behind the law of attraction. What does that mean? You're going to have to stay tuned. But our first two segments today, we're broadcasting live tonight from Cleveland, Ohio. And if you'd like to join our conversation, the number here at WHK in Cleveland is 216-901-0945. Or if you're long distance, it's 888-281-1110. Well, our first guest tonight, we have PJ with us, PJ Jonas. PJ, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing fine. PJ, where are you calling from?
I am in Charlestown, Indiana, which is not far from Louisville.
Well, you're a little bit south of Cleveland down there, but
yes.
You probably still have the same kind of winters we have up here.
We usually get the nicer end of it. Usually there's a line that goes a little worse north of us.
Well, you're probably in the middle of spring already, and we're just sort of starting here.
Yep, we got flower buds up and everything.
All right, stop it. That's enough. Well, anyway, let me explain to our listeners why you're on, PJ Jonas. You are a mom, and you have how many children?
I have 8 children.
And they're between the ages of what and what? 3
and 14.
And how many gray hairs do you have?
Quite a few, actually.
Actually, you ain't seen nothing yet until they all start getting older. But interesting enough, your background is an engineer.
Correct.
I understand. And, we've been talking on this show here in Cleveland for over a year now about the economy and how difficult it is, the unemployment rates. And even though the unemployment rate dropped a little bit nationally, we still have a lot of unemployment. But you guys did something quite unique with your family, and you started your own business.
We did. We had been thinking about having a family business for quite a while, and I had been making goat milk soap for our family, and we decided to start a business selling it.
Before we go any further, goat milk soap, tell us about that, and how come we don't see the shelves filled with cow milk soap, and why is goat milk soap better?
Well, goat milk soap is made, obviously, with the goat milk as well as the other ingredients. But goat milk itself is very high in vitamin A, which is a very good ingredient for your skin. It's also high in selenium, which is a mineral that can help decrease the chances of cancer and aging signs in your skin. Plus, it's very high in alpha-hydroxy acids, which remove the dead skin cells by breaking down the bonds so they can be removed from your skin.
Now, how did you find this out? What led you to this kind of product?
Well, we actually already had dairy goats because I wanted the raw milk for our family to drink. Mm-hmm. So we had them, and it was just a matter of research and getting to know them and getting to understand all the benefits of the milk.
Now, with your engineering background, tell us about that. What kind of engineering background do you have?
I had a systems engineering degree, which is less computer systems and more large-scale systems, which definitely helped with raising a family of 8 kids and running a home business. So it's been a very big plus. Oh,
I would think so. My brother has 6 children, and he says sometimes he feels more like a program manager than a parent.
Yeah, I'm definitely the chief delegator around here, that's for sure.
So does that put you on the good side or the bad side of the kids?
Mostly on the good side.
Oh, good. So you blame it all on your husband.
Yeah, so when I can.
When you do that. Well, talking about the economy now, are you doing this full time?
We are. Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been doing it full time?
Well, the children, I started it about 3 years ago, and it took about 6 months before the business was able to support my husband full time. So it's been about 2.5 years that we've been the whole family full time on the business.
Now, what did you guys do before this business? Were you working for companies or something, or were you?
My husband used to be a teacher, so he taught junior high science. And then when we moved to Indiana, he worked as a garbage man for several years while we got this started because it enabled him to work 4 days a week. So he had a 3-day weekend, and it really helped with that.
Well, when you started the business, what made you think of the business?
Well, like I said, I had the dairy goats, and we were making goat milk soap for the family, so it was very natural to just start a company called Goat Milk Stuff that distributed soap and other healthy body care products with milk in it to customers.
Mm-hmm. And the children, you said, are working with you in the company. Now, how do they do that, and how do they get their schooling?
Well, we homeschool the children, so it's a very natural and easy fit because we use the business a lot to further their education. The older children are involved with dealing with customers, so they get a lot of public speaking and interpersonal skills. They also do a lot of math as we do the company books and invoicing and things like that. And then the younger children do a lot with the soap, such as bagging the soap and cutting up the soap and things of that nature. So it's very easy for them to get extra skills while they're doing the business. But there's also, homeschoolers generally have a lot more time than people think because you're able to focus on the children. It takes them a lot less time to do their school. So they're only taking, my daughter's in doing 8th grade right now, and she just does that in about 2.5 hours a day, which then leaves a lot of time for playing and working on the business.
Well, a lot of our listeners aren't familiar with homeschooling, at least on the level that you have been experiencing it. But I know that they've heard of homeschooling. And have you or your husband, were you homeschooled at all?
No, neither one of us were. My husband had been a public school teacher, so he got to see a lot of things firsthand and knew some of the things that he wanted to improve upon.
Well, why did you guys decide to homeschool?
Mostly because when you're homeschooling your children, you can really focus on them and their individual needs and their individual skill sets to really further them and give them what they need to be the best that they can be.
Well, to get someone to educate your children so that they're prepared to take national standardized tests, what do you do with regard to your local Board of Education in order to set up curriculums and measure the development of your children?
You're actually, in Indiana, you're not required to take the standardized test. The different homeschooling is legal on a federal level, but it's regulated on a state-by-state level. So the different states will have different requirements. My husband and I are very much overachievers, and the children have tended to get those traits from us, so they're typically very ahead of where their peers would be. So we haven't taken any standardized tests at all.
Oh, so how do you know how your children are doing compared to other children their same age?
Mostly because we interact with a lot of them, and you know when your kids are struggling with stuff and when they're way ahead. My daughter, who's the oldest, so we talk about her a lot. She's already pretty much reading on a college level, and they have a lot of the math skills. I used to tutor math for about 15 years, so I can judge pretty well whether they're understanding and grasping the concepts. And we worry much more about their thinking skills and their problem-solving skills than we do the memorization of facts.
Well, the fact that you've been tutoring and your husband's a teacher, that your children certainly are fortunate in that department.
It helps because we can see that they're doing so well. It doesn't help as much with the actual teaching of them because it's very different teaching your kids in a one-on-one situation, especially for my husband, than it would be teaching in the classroom situation. But we know enough to know that they're ahead of where they should be. Well,
that is excellent. Now, one of the other questions that come up with homeschooling is when kids go to school and they have their friends and all of that, they have a chance to interact with other young people their same age. What opportunities do your children get to have that interaction?
The socialization question is one of the most popular,
Isn't it a popular one? Sure.
Yeah. It's pretty much the number one question that's asked of homeschoolers. And what homeschoolers are able to do is socialize their kids in groups that are not just dependent on one age group. So they get a lot of interaction with people of all different ages, of all different nationalities. We're always, especially with us because we have the family business, so we do a lot of craft fairs and festivals and whatnot, so the children are always speaking to customers, and the older ones answer the phones here, so they do that. We'll go out and do different events, whether we go and play sports or just go out, out shopping. They're always interacting with different people.
Well, that's very good. Now, I actually know the answer to a lot of these questions I'm asking. My brother has been doing that with his children for years, and they're all doing just great.
Yeah,
but
it really is a wonderful experience.
Well, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back. We're talking to P.J. Jonas from Southern Illinois. That's where you are, P.J.?
Indiana.
Indiana. You didn't get that far west. You're still in Indiana. Nope. Okay, very good. Well, we're going to be talking to P.J. when we come back, so if you have any questions or like to talk about homeschooling or getting into business during this economy, stay tuned and call us back here at WHK at 216-901-0945. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to Nick Phillips on The Advocate, WHK Cleveland. Don't go away. If you would like to join our conversation here, we're talking about a couple of things. We're talking about family business, homeschooling, and making it all work. And with us tonight, we have P.J. Jonas calling from Southern Indiana. P.J., you're there.
I am.
Oh, very good, very good. Hey, by the way, if anyone would like to call, we're at 216-901-0945. And P.J., we do have a caller. We have Bob from Cleveland who's on the line. Bob, how are you tonight?
Good evening, folks.
Hey, good evening, Bob.
I'm kind of curious. You know, you kind of passed over to goats rather quickly.
We're going to get back into that, but go ahead with your question.
Like how many goats and who milks them, and what, I assume you live on a farm, and do the kids interact with the goats? And I'll hang up and listen, and thank you.
Hey, those are our questions. Great. Thanks for calling, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about is, how large of a farm do you have? How many goats? And what can a 3-year-old do that'll be more help than hindrance?
We actually only have 3 acres, and we've got 7 milkers on that. Our goats are very high producers, so we get 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of milk a day from the goats. All my boys are pretty much the primary caregivers for the goats. The older 2 do the milking twice a day, so they get up at 7 and go out and milk in the morning, and then again at 7 o'clock at night, and they process the milk, which basically means just putting it into glass jars and cooling it down really quickly. And then they've got to wash all their milk pails and all their equipment, plus feed all the goats. So that's their primary job. And then all of the kids, but mostly the middle boys, are responsible for cleaning out the stalls and doing all of that stuff.
Oh, geez.
So,
now, did you say how many goats you have?
We have 7 milkers. And then we've got 2 bucks, and it's kidding season right now. So in order for the goats to give milk every year, they have to have kids every year. So right now we've got 10 kids on the ground. We've got 6 little girls and 6 little boys. So we're bottle raising them as well. And
7 of them give enough milk to let you run this business and support your family?
It does. We get an ounce of milk in each bar of soap. So if you're getting 2 gallons of milk a day from the goat, that's 250 bars of soap a day from one goat.
Now, the process to turn the milk into soap, is that something that's pretty industrial, or do the children help with that, or how does that work?
Well, when you actually make the soap, you use a chemical ingredient that's lye, and that's what causes the chemical reaction to turn the inputs into the soap. So the kids stay away from that. But once my husband, he's the one who makes all the soap, once it's all mixed properly and poured into the molds, then the kids come in and they swirl the top so it's got a nice texture on the top so it looks really pretty. So they do that, and then they do all the unmolding and cutting of the soap as well.
Now, how many hours a day do you think is put into the production of soap, including the milking and the processing and all of that?
It's actually kind of cyclical. We'll have, our busy times. This is a very busy time of the year because the kids are being born. So we're putting a lot more time into it right now. The babies need to be fed 4 times a day, so that'll take time. But the actual making of the soap takes my husband about 3 hours a day. He spends just mixing and pouring the soap into molds. Now,
do you guys have a website or something that people can go and check you out?
We do. It's www.goatmilkstuff.com. And one of the interesting things we've been doing lately is we've been doing a lot of YouTube videos. So if you go on the left sidebar, there's a link to our YouTube channel, and we just put up a new video this week on the baby goats. So you can see there's some video of some of them that are just a couple of minutes old, trying to get ready to stand up, and we show you how my daughter milks them, and we talk a little bit about how we raise the baby goats. So that's on there as well.
Oh, very good. Now, is this you may have mentioned it earlier, is this a full-time job so you don't have to do outside work now?
Correct. So this is full-time. This is what we do.
Well, that's kind of neat. So that must bring the family together.
It's been wonderful. That was really the primary motivation for having the family business, because with 8 kids, I really wanted to have my husband there to interact with the children as well and help with the homeschooling and help to raise them, and not just come home and deal with them when he's tired and they're tired at night.
Well, when do you get to go on vacation?
We actually go when the goats dry off. You have to dry them off, which means not milk them for 2 months before they have their kids. So we go during that dry period, and we went down to Florida to visit my mom at Disney World.
Mm-hmm. Oh, great place.
Then we went up to New Hampshire to visit Jim's parents and go skiing up there. So we get a good vacation during that time.
Wow, what's next for the family Jonas?
We're just expanding into more products. It's been great as the kids get older. They're really been developing their entrepreneurial skills and developing some of their own products. My 12-year-old son has developed a product he's calling Clefs, which stands for Coulter's Lovely Environmentally Friendly Fragrance Sacks. So he's making those, and my daughter is working on developing deodorant because she's not happy with what she can get in the store. So she's been doing a lot of experimentation trying to come up with a formula that works and that she's happy with.
Now, when you do this, do you have to deal with like the FDA and things like that if you're selling products that are going to go on human bodies?
Not directly. There are rules set up and regulations that we have to follow. A lot of it just has to do with proper labeling, making sure that your ingredients are listed and the weights are listed and things of that nature.
So as long as you're accurate, you're okay.
Right.
Now,
and it's a big soap making is a big chemistry experiment, so accuracy is really important.
Now, where all do you distribute your products?
We're primarily on the web. Most of our business comes from the website. We're in all 50 states and we're on all 7 continents. This is the homeschoolers coming out, and as we like to say that we had somebody bring our soap down to a research station in Antarctica.
Oh my!
So it's been on all 7 continents, and we ship that out 6 days a week through the postal system, priority mail, so it gets to people quickly. Plus, we're in some stores across the country, and we do some craft shows and festivals. We've also started a new program that we call a distributor program, where some of our customers who have fallen in love with the soap are now taking it to local festivals and whatnot by them and selling it there as well.
And what name do we go by?
It's Goat Milk Stuff.
Well, that's easy stuff. So
Yep.
Not to be confused with goat milk cheese or something.
Yep, we just added goat milk fudge, so we've got that available now as well, which has been really popular. We've got chocolate and peanut butter, which is really yummy.
Well, you can't go wrong with those flavors.
Nope.
Now, like me, when you hear goat milk, it's not the same as cow's milk. How often do you run into people who feel a little queasy about that?
A lot of them will have some, bad connotations about the goat milk, mostly because they've never tried it. Goat milk in the store, like canned milk and the stuff that you buy there, is kind of nasty. But fresh goat milk from the farm, you really can't tell any difference from cow milk.
Really? So for us who don't drink goat's milk on a regular basis, it would have pretty much the same flavor?
Yes, if the goats are healthy and properly milked, and the milk is chilled right away after milking, then it would be hard pressed to tell the difference.
Oh, very good. Well, and by the way, thank you for sending some products out to our producer, Sue, who's going to try that all out for you.
Good. I hope you like that.
She'll get back and we'll get the lowdown on how that is all going.
Yeah, I think we sent her some Purity for her grandson who's got eczema, so hopefully it'll help them.
Now, interesting. How does that help eczema?
Well, a lot of people don't really know what causes eczema, so what we found is just switching to the natural soap has really made a huge difference in relieving all the symptoms of the eczema. Goat milk, like I said, is very high in a lot of nutrients that are very healthy for the skin, so it can help build up the health of the skin as well, which can relieve the symptoms. Now,
do you guys have to test this out before you make those claims, or how do you do that? Try it on the kids?
We don't tell anybody that it's guaranteed to relieve anything. We've got a page on our website listing all the testimonials of people that have been helped, but a lot of it is individual people and what is causing it. One of the other things that we found is a lot of people are helped. We've started making a goat milk laundry soap, and a lot of people feel a difference when they're using that because the detergents aren't remaining on their clothes and harming their skin and irritating it.
Wow.
So that's helping people too.
Well, it sounds like an all-American story, a family and a business, and you guys are making it work, and everyone seems so happy. And you're doing well. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's truly been wonderful. It's something that we're all out there together. We have so much fun while we do it. We play music and we sing, and we have little contests while we're working, and it's really been everything I hoped it would be.
And so this, we can get little glimpses of this by going on YouTube and checking it out.
Yes, we've got quite a lot of videos up there of all the different aspects of what we do.
Well, very good. So these goats are actually going to pay for the college education of your children.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Well, it sounds like a pretty good plan.
Yep, they all get a salary, so they're all. It's funny watching the different temperaments of the different children and who saves it all and who, is tempted to spend it all.
Oh, my goodness. So they're keeping track of all that. So, well, they have their own accounts, their own Social Security numbers, their own business. And
they do. They have their own accounts, and they have to track what they earn and keep it. They have to pay their own taxes. And what the biggest benefit to it has been that they really have an understanding of how much they have to work to be able to buy something.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that's
not
good.
just this, oh, Mom, can you get me that? Because they don't understand how much it is. Like, okay, well, you can have that, but you have to recognize how much time is going into being able to purchase that item.
Wow. Well, PJ Jonas, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight.
Thank you for having me, Nick.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have it all. If we had Edward R. Murrow around, he used to have a program called, I think it was You Are There, where they'd bring everybody into your house and sort of a reality TV of its time. We'll take a look at you guys.
Yeah, so, we'd love it.
Well, PJ, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. You have a good night.
You too.